Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Charles Abels, local photographer in and around Prescott Valley, Arizona. I hope you enjoy this presentation. So you finally got yourself an all-mechanical 35mm camera. Airborne minimum, no bells and whistles, no exposure metering. What can you do? Well, what I want to talk to you about right now is my favorite rule, especially out here in Arizona, and that's the Sunny 16 rule. You only have three things to consider. One, what is the ASA of your film that you're going to use? Or in other words, how sensitive is your film to the light? For me, I'm using Kodak T-Max 400. Second thing to consider, or do, is make sure you have your aperture set to f/16, hence the Sunny 16 rule. Set your aperture to f/16. This is very small aperture in the lens and allows for very little light to strike the film. The third, shutter speed. Very simple. You adjust your shutter speed to the ASA. Now most camera does not have 1/400th of a second, so like most camera, it will have 1/500th of a second or 1/250th of a second. Now, with this particular camera, this is a Leica MA with an Elmer 50mm lens, f2.8. It's collapsible. It's a very beautiful lens, hence why I'm out here, because I just recently acquired this lens and it's going to be a part of the permanent fixture for my MA camera. But your shutter speed here, I only have two choices that I can play with. 1/500th of a second, 1/250th of a second. Frankly, even though they tell you to go to the 1/500th of a second, I generally flip-flop between the two shutter speed. A lot of it depends on just simply the lighting. We do have high clouds today, besides this wind. Still springtime in Arizona. And so generally when I'm out in the field working with the Sunny 16 rule, I will flip-flop depending on where the sun is in relationships to what I'm photographing, either 1/500th of a second or 1/250th of a second. And so that is the basic setup. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to review three things to consider. What are you shooting with your ASA? I'm shooting a Kodak 400 ASA film. The f-stop, or the aperture, set to f/16. And the shutter speed set at 1/500th of a second, or play with it, explore. That's what's great about the mechanical camera. Make that judgment call with the sun and the environment around you and the exposure around you. And you can play with 1/250th of a second. And so that's fundamentally all of what Sunny 16 is. So right now I have a roll of film here I'm going to burn up. It's a 24 exposure film. And I'm going to burn up this roll and I'm going to develop it later on. And I want to share with you the photographs that I've taken today. I thought I'd go ahead and wrap this video up as I take care of the chores. Anyhow, a recap of the Sunny 16 rule. I was quite pleased that the photographs came out as well as they did. It's always good to go back to the basic of mechanical cameras. If I was to highlight anything, or if I was to remind you of anything, the ASA of the film is the foundation. Now generally I either use Kodak T-Max 100 or Kodak T-Max 400. So it's either 100 ASA or 400 ASA. The ASA is what determines the shutter speed. So the Kodak 100 ASA as an example, you could shoot, most cameras are 1/125 of a second. I do have a camera that's actually 1/100th of a second. And you could also play with 1/60th of a second. So always experiment. I mean, isn't that what photography is all about? So remember, if you use the Sunny 16 rule, it's got to be sunshiny. The shutter speed is determined by the ASA that you use. And always set your aperture to f/16. So, if you enjoyed this presentation, don't forget to subscribe down below somewhere on the page here and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you again. Adios.